House Speaker Mike Johnson yesterday told members of Congress to return to Capitol Hill right now to prepare to vote on a bill to reopen the government, and I'm sure they would if only the flights weren't all grounded.
Oh, they're so clever, they're so smart. They've got teams of writers in rooms who are paid to be funny and comedians. And wait, you mean the Schumer airline shutdown? Is that what we're talking about now? The propaganda apparatus of the Democrat Party knows no bounds. Name a network. Little cat scratch fever. A very happy hump day to you out there in America land. We know what the Clintons are doing today. And here on our humble radio broadcast, we have Mailbag Day. That means we answer questions that are donated, contributed to our mailbag. So we can respond to nice questions from the nice American people around the side of normal. Unlike the crazy, crazy Democrats who shut the government down, you may recall. And what do they call it? They call it the Trump shutdown. Sure. Right. They are the Benito Mussolini shutdown. These people. The Democrat Party is very, very unwell indeed. And we have many examples of that today, as you might expect. Just extraordinary. The House of Representatives looking to have a vote tonight. They're saying maybe even late tonight because people have to fly back to Washington, and Schumer screwed up air travel all across the United States. And the news media doesn't blame it on him because the news media are corrupt, like that Abby Phillip woman at CNN. Very, very corrupt people, very awfully, terribly corrupt. Not doing journalism at all. But we do truth here. Call it what you will. We speak the truth here, and I think that's very important, in a civilized culture, to have the truth be known. You don't have to subscribe to it. You can still be a Democrat with all of your mental illnesses and gender dysphoria and all that stuff. And by the way, has the International Olympic Committee actually announced that they're not going to allow men to compete against women? Are they still talking about the possibility that they will disqualify men when it comes to competing against women and stealing their medals and their glory? Because the Democrats, like weightlifting. Hey, here's a man competing as a woman in the weightlifting. And guess what? He won. Oh, no, they call him she and her because they're all mental. And he won the heavy lift. That's a shock to everyone. It is a shock to the Democrats. They're like little children just born in the wilderness, found in the woods in swaddling clothes. And they have to be taught everything from scratch because of their very severe mental illnesses. Speaking of scratch, absolutely nutty. They're still demanding the Obamacare bailout. Now they're going to try to screw it up in the House of Representatives, and the media will help in screwing it up because then they pretend to blame it on, as like blaming slavery on black people, as just, which was the Democrats. They love slavery, and now they love cheap labor in the form of illegal aliens. But we've got that going. Bill to end longest shutdown in history advances to House-wide vote. And the House of Representatives, they plan on passing it and opening the government. And the Democrats plan on obstructing it and firebombing Jews and, the usual stuff, attacking the police. All that's good stuff. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, we talked about it a little bit, about the Turning Point USA event at the University of California at Berkeley. The hotbed of leftist lunacy, UC Berkeley. And it turns out this guy, now one of the Turning Point people, wearing a Charlie Kirk T-shirt with the word freedom across the chest, and they can't have that, got to attack that guy. He ended up being punched out by a crazy, radical, Antifa Democrat type. And it turns out that the boy's name is Jihad. His first name is Jihad. You see this? He's another Democrat. His name is Jihad. His last name is not known anywhere on the planet Earth, certainly not in the English language, but I'll give it a whack for you as we get to that. The violence will continue until Democrat Party morale improves. They're completely insane. But the young man who was selling Turning Point USA T-shirts and things at the gathering at UC Berkeley, ended up with blood, his own blood, all over his face, just to be clear, all over his face because he was attacked by a Democrat whose first name is Jihad. Jihad. You know, the radical Islamic jihadi attack. That's what they decided to name their son Jihad. His brother, interestingly enough, is named Genocide. Here's, hey, have you met my brother? Genocide. Here's Jihad and Genocide. They might be twins. They might not be. So I want to update you on that because that's pretty wacky. But the bill to end the longest shutdown in history, the Democrat Party shutdown, the Schumer shutdown, screwing up air travel, screwing up government employees, the military, all the things that Democrats hate because they like to fly private. So it gives them another excuse to fly private. Wah, wah, wah. Just extraordinary stuff. And then we have the Democrat Senator John Fetterman. You see this? He went on the left-wing Democrat TV show on ABC. It's an ABC News program. And Senator Democrat John Fetterman, kind of a nut, went on the View where Sonny Hostin scolds John Fetterman in heated debate over shutdown because they're all so ignorant. It's I'm reminded of, what was it, Dan Aykroyd, when they were doing the old 60 Minutes thing. Why, Jane, you ignorant slut, right? And I got to tell you, these people that the Democrats put out there in multi-million-dollar jobs to lie every day, just extraordinary. The headline is, quote, "I believe you are wrong," end quote. The View's Sonny Hostin scolds John Fetterman in heated debate over shutdown. The lie is so big, and ABC fake news. That's an ABC News show. It is The Budget, and it's under ABC News because they want to try to make money somewhere, and because they lose money every place else, and they got to pay George Stephanopoulos $25 million a year to lie on behalf of the Democrat Party because he's a liar on behalf of the Democrat Party. But isn't that amazing? And if I were at the White House, I would seriously consider looking at either NBC or ABC putting together a video reel of them lying and spreading falsehoods and conspiracy theories and madness and running it in the White House briefing room and then explaining while the ABC news people are there or the NBC news people are there, said that this is the reason that we're revoking your credentials for the White House, for the State Department, for the Pentagon, for all of the federal government office buildings that you have photo IDs to get into, credentials to get into. And I would put together a reel of the spectacular lies, and there are a great many. They present themselves every day, and show a reel of the lies in the White House briefing room, and then announce, have Caroline Leavitt announce, maybe even have the president come out and announce that because of the reel that you just saw, everybody, and because of the lies that you people, I'd call them you people, that you people spread, you are no longer accepted as a legitimate journalistic outlet, news organization, and your credentials to cover this building, the White House, as journalists have just been revoked. You're no longer welcome inside of the White House gates. You're going to have to look in from outside the fence, like all of your mental cases that are already outside the fence, looking through like mental cases, because they got them every day too. Isn't that amazing? They're just extraordinary. And did you see Hakeem Jeffries? He is a radical and an extremist. He was with Wolf Blitzer, right? Wolf Blitzer at CNN, and Hakeem Jeffries, who hates the Jews. He'll go on with Wolf Blitzer. He's Jewish, but he hates the Jews. Just ask him. And he went on there and he attacked Dr. Mehmet Oz. And you got to hear this. Hakeem Jeffries attacking Dr. Mehmet Oz. Calls him a joke and a rando. Man, he's like some random nobody. And I want to explain why Hakeem Jeffries should be expelled from the Congress and maybe the United States of America. Is he deportable, do you think? I wonder if Jihad is deportable, too, attacking the Turning Point USA event at UC Berkeley. If Jihad is deportable, he should be catapulted into the Atlantic Ocean because, Democrats, he's just another Democrat radical extremist. Isn't that amazing? And also, I don't know if you saw this, but Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is, I think, the world's #1 podcaster. Is that correct? I think that's correct. Joe Rogan is certainly one of, if not the world's #1 podcaster, and has an enormous following. And He, on his podcast, it's a video streaming podcast and all that. It's like a TV show. Joe Rogan warns America is sliding toward, quote, bona fide civil war, end quote, with left and right locked in an ideological death spiral. One side is shooting people with sniper rifles and killing people like Charlie Kirk and setting fire to everything and attacking Jewish people like the Nazis that they are and supporting Hamas like the Nazis that they are. Isn't it amazing? But Joe Rogan, I have the audio for you, says America is sliding toward a bona fide civil war. I've been talking about this for quite some time now. When I saw Joe Rogan mention it, I said, maybe he's been listening to my excellent radio broadcast, pick up a few tips along the way. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, and he's Joe Rogan. Rogan warns Kirk assassination celebration shows U.S. closer to civil war. I thought, now who's been talking about this? You don't want to incite, but the left is out there inciting everything. We're not inciting anything. We're inciting peace and living together like normal people and cooperating like normal people and behaving like normal people. Isn't that amazing? Speaking of lefties, Venezuela mobilizes troops, weapons in response to warship buildup in Caribbean. Now we should, just bomb the snot out of them, don't you think? Wait, you're building up military forces and weapons? You're Venezuela? We're going to bring Hugo Chavez back to life and send him back to take over there. You people, this is commies, and they're smuggling drugs by the billions. And how dare you blow up our drug smuggling boats, because they love their drug smuggling boats. And the Democrats defend the drug smugglers and the drug smuggling boats and the communist leader, now Nicolas Maduro. So we got all that. Wah. Yes, sir. Also, did you see Barack Obama yesterday for Veterans Day showed up at a D.C. airport for a photo op. And we had a big back and forth about this last night on our text thread, the radio show people text thread. We had a big back and forth on this, and Barack Hussein Obama, what did he do to honor Veterans Day? I will share that with you coming up. It's kind of might surprise you what I said about it last night when we were going back and forth, but then again, maybe not. We'll see. Also, a parents' rights group releases a scathing lookout warning that the two top teachers unions in the United States are engaged in indoctrination. Nothing but indoctrination, not education. Can't read, can't write, can't arithmetic, but you can parrot the party line of the hard left. Isn't that great? And this was nuts. I don't know. We didn't see it around here in Washington, D.C., but my brothers in Chicago were texting me photographs last night of the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis in full and living color in Chicago. And my brothers are outside shooting pictures and texting me these pictures saying, look at this, what is this? And that's completely nuts, crazy. Man, oh man, I'm telling you. And did you see that the left-wing president of Mexico, whose name is Claudia Sheinbaum, do the Jews have to run everything, honestly, including Mexico? What is up with that? So Claudia Sheinbaum running Mexico, and you'll never guess, they just erected, can you say erected on the radio? They just erected a wall around the presidential palace in Mexico, and it's tall, it's metal, it is apparently an armored wall, because she knows what the cartels are up to. She knows who the bad guys are. She knows. See, down there, they are legal. They're legal people. They get dangerous to us only when they come up here. They're already dangerous in Mexico. So they're building a tall steel wall, an armored wall around the presidential palace in Mexico. No sense of irony, these people. They use the words, but they don't know what they mean. Isn't that amazing? And it's bulletproof. Why would they do that? And I thought walls didn't work. If walls don't work, what are you, trying to keep jihad out? Trying to, the guy named Jihad from Berkeley, because Democrats, aren't they something? We're at 888-630-9625. The Democrats are around, it's a good idea to duck anytime you hear anything that sounds out of the ordinary. And Joe Rogan saying the Democrats are pushing us toward civil war in the United States of America. In the meantime, let's talk to the nice American people. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Chris, calling from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Christopher, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris, how you doing? Good to talk to you. Good to finally hear you live. I'm actually just driving home right now from a night shift from a Federal Emergency Operational Center that been working through the shutdown, working without pay, working because that's our mission. It's been tough, but it hasn't been Fallujah tough, and so we've been able to manage. And for us, it's not about the pay. It's about keeping the country safe and operational and ready to respond, and that's what we're doing.
You said Fallujah.
Even though the politicians can't keep the government running, we're keeping it safe.
Keeping it safe, and you say you're in the Federal Emergency Operations Center, and you it's no Fallujah, you said. So I'm guessing you're a Marine.
Marine Corps veteran, and this year, instead of going out and drinking with Chesty with the rest of my buddies or getting my Applebee's for veterans, I was on duty, on shift.
Uh-huh. Without
paid, but still operational. So
for the Marine Corps birthday, the Marine Corps' 250th birthday, which was day before yesterday, right? 11/10. That's right. And then Veterans Day, and drinking with Chesty. Chesty Puller is the Marine Corps dog mascot, and named for the great Marine Chesty Puller. And so you didn't get out, and you couldn't have beers on the Marine Corps birthday because you were manning the Federal Emergency Ops Center.
One of them, but in that half of us are Marines, so we did have a cake. We did have our ceremony, which Marines do anywhere.
Uh-huh.
But it's just part of the job, and it's what we do.
And you're not getting paid.
Not getting paid. It's been hard. It's been tough. I had to make some sacrifices, but we've been in worse situations. And like I said, for us, doing our job, doing our mission is not about the paycheck. It's about what the mission stands for, and that's keeping the country safe and ready to respond.
And
that's what we're doing.
And a good comparison, it's not Fallujah. That's good. So who shut the government down, Chris? Who shut it down?
The same ones that are towering now and realizing that, all right, maybe we were wrong the whole time, and it's not about the country for them. It's about their leverage.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was their chosen word, leverage. Well, God bless you, Chris. Saluting you. Yeah, this Aurora Borealis thing last night was completely nuts. My brothers in Chicago sent me pictures of the aurora visible in Chicago, lighting up the sky. Just unbelievable. And we started texting family threads, and another family member in Colorado sent their picture of the Aurora Borealis in a red sky with green beneath it, and in the middle of the night, just amazing. And then a family member on the Colorado, yes, but the Panhandle of Florida, pretty far south for the Northern Lights. Why do you think they call them the Northern Lights? But the Aurora Borealis going wild because of, we had the sun, the great ball of fire in the sky. Are you familiar with the great ball of fire in the sky? It's kind of a big deal. It has a lot to do with everything that goes on. But there is activity in the sky, a severe solar storm hurtling toward Earth. Means Chicago could see northern lights this week. Now, after my brothers sent me pictures of what were obviously the northern lights in Chicago, I went hunting on Al Gore's amazing internet, peace be upon him. And, it turns out a severe solar storm hurtling toward Earth. I think the Earth is on fire, and we're all going to die soon. Don't you think? That makes me angry. Doesn't that make you angry? Mental cases. And then a fun story, too. Northern lights are in the forecast across the U.S. again tonight. See if they'll be visible in your state. And and this is another article on it. And Alaska and North Dakota, Minnesota, Montana, Wisconsin, Michigan, Maine, South Dakota, Idaho, Vermont, you might expect those, state of Washington, New Hampshire, you might expect those, Wyoming, then New York, Iowa, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Nebraska, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana for the Northern Lights, and then again, a family member sending an amazing photo from the Panhandle of Florida, which is not a northern state, with the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis. Pretty darn cool, I've got to say. My best girl and I, it was just earlier this year, we went with a group of good friends, listeners, on our annual sea cruise, and we circumnavigated Iceland, the island nation of Iceland, from Reykjavik to Reykjavik. And we went, you go north of the island of Iceland, of course, when you're circumnavigating counterclockwise. And we were north of the 65th parallel, which is the Arctic Circle. And we didn't see the aurora there. We didn't see the Aurora Borealis when we were inside the Arctic Circle north of Iceland. And now you're seeing it on the Panhandle, Florida. I'm guessing this is climate change. This has got to be global warming. What else could possibly explain the Aurora Borealis on the Panhandle of Florida?
Aurora Borealis. At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen.
Yes.
That's it?
No.
Ah, yes. Got to keep your eyes peeled at all times. That's very cool. Well, I didn't see it here. Now, I'm told I did speak to someone this morning, lives in Maryland by Annapolis. And they said, well, their neighbors saw the aurora in Annapolis last night over by the Chesapeake Bay. It's a big body of water, but that's not important now. Isn't that amazing? So that was cool, and I got to tell you, I'm gonna look it up again tonight, and I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled again tonight. I did go check it out, gazing to the north last night from our perch, but I didn't see any northern lights for my own self. That's the thing. All right, let's get back to the big news of the day, which is the Democrats trying to screw with every American and screw them over and steal stuff from them and make their lives miserable and try to make you cancel your flights. And lots of people are canceling flights. And if you don't cancel your flight might be canceled on you anyway. And if it's not canceled, it may be delayed for a long, long time. And if it's not delayed and it's not canceled, it still may take you forever to get through TSA, Transportation Security, because the Democrats have really screwed things up this time, and they lie about it all the time. They lie like psychopaths. They have the brains of little children, corrupt little children. And I want to because I didn't get to this yesterday, but I should have. They have this TV show. I can't believe it's still on the air, called The Daily Show. It used to be on a TV channel that used to be called Comedy Central. But there's no comedy anymore, so they just killed that cable channel. And they got this guy, Jon Stewart, who is not nearly as bright as he thinks he is, not necessarily very funny either. He's always had teams of 22 to 26 writers to put together a 26-minute TV show for him, and he's supposed to deliver funny lines. And I think he was a comedian at one point many years ago, but he gave that up to become a left-wing propagandist, because that's what really pays in the end. You can become the quarterback of the New England Patriots, or you can become a Democrat Party propagandist, and you can make probably more money doing the Democrat Party propaganda than you can being the quarterback of the New England Patriots, because they pay their propagandists a lot, from George Stephanopoulos to Jimmy Kimmel and the people on The View across the spectrum, which is a reference to their mental state. But let me go to this, because night before last, The Daily Show, this Jon Stewart guy, very angry man. They're all angry. They're not happy unless they're not happy. And he's very angry. So he went on the television, and I got to tell you, any organization, any network that allows this kind of propaganda on their airwaves to go out from coast to coast, I think the White House should reject press passes. I don't think Comedy Central has press passes, but the ABC late-night TV propaganda and the View ABC propaganda put together what they call a pitch reel, highlight reel of the of the Democrats at ABC lying about everything from George Stephanopoulos on down, and revoke all of their White House press passes. I think that's an excellent idea. But here's the Jon Stewart on The Daily Show, night before last on the Democrat Party shutdown, and they're just bitter and angry that the gun-to-the-head extortion effort orchestrated by the Democrats from Chuck Schumer and Barack Obama on down. But this is what this Jon Stewart guy said.
I can't f***ing believe it.
They always have to curse.
F***ing caved on the shutdown.
Like a 5-year-old.
You sold out the entire shutdown not to get what you wanted.
You sold out the entire shutdown not to get what you wanted. He means to not get what you wanted rather than not to get what you wanted, just semantically speaking. But, they're the ones they're the ones with the team of writers in the writer's room and the producer's pool and all that. English is not their thing. Comedy is not their thing. Writing is not their thing. Delivering jokes, not their thing. I'm really not sure what they're good for. But really angry, very, very angry. The shutdown ending, the Democrats didn't get. They sold out and didn't get, what they were extorting, the shakedown. And that is communist subsidies for Obamacare, which was never affordable, according to the Washington Post. So they need to shake us down under the umbrella of a big lie that it's, the Republicans shut the government down and we need $1.5 trillion added to the national debt to keep Obamacare going for another 6 months, is it? Because that's they never, and the Republicans are not great at messaging or any of this stuff, but that's, I think, where I come in. Isn't that amazing? Just, speaking of which, I was texting with a friend last night, a smart guy last night, and it is past time for Kash Patel at the FBI and Dan Bongino at the FBI to hold a press conference announcing that charges have been filed and arrests have been made in pre-dawn raids, or, we could be more adult and let John Brennan come and turn himself in rather than putting him in leg shackles like the Democrats did with Peter Navarro. But it is past time that the FBI hold a press conference announcing arrests and charges, and there are a whole panoply of them to choose from. And they need to hold a press conference where they show video of John Brennan lying to Congress, of James Clapper lying to Congress, of now he's a senator from California, Adam Schiff, then a House member, lying to everybody about all his inside information and the classified briefings that he was getting. And he lied and lied and lied and lied. But it is overdue, I think, that the FBI have a press conference with senior leadership. And then maybe there's the pipe bomb, the lady who, with the video analysis and all that, and that's been out there, and the Blaze put it out there. But I don't know what you guys are doing, but we don't see much of you, of Kash Patel or Dan Bongino, for that matter. And the pipe bomb developments because of the Blaze, Glenn Beck's organization, which they seem to be stepping back from a little bit when I played the audio yesterday. But I'd like to see our government doing things. There's a lot of when you see things in the news and friends text things along and say, that's what I voted for. That's what I voted for. Well, I voted for accountability. That's one of the things that I voted for, voting for President Trump. Accountability for liars and creeps that have been cheating and stealing and lying and deceiving, and it's time they be held accountable. And that should involve a major press conference with senior Justice Department and FBI officials announcing arrests and charges have been filed because the evidence is on videotape everywhere. And I got to say, the pipe bomb lady who now works at the CIA, she hasn't put out a statement. They've got, actually, believe it or not, a public affairs office at the CIA. And I used to do a lot of work with them. I had a special cover sheet for the press office at the CIA when I was with CNN at the Pentagon, and it was the cover sheet was spy versus spy, with the black pointy-head spy and then the white pointy-head spy. And that was my cover sheet, CIA logo here and the CNN logo there, CNN, CIA, and it was spy versus spy cover sheet. But they should be putting a statement out. And they haven't. The woman has been named, and CIA Public Affairs should put a statement out, or she should hold a press conference if she has nothing to be concerned about with her many lawyers, because Democrats always have teams of lawyers. Have you noticed that? Millions and millions of people. All right, now let's get back to the government shutdown. MSDNC, also known as MS-13 DNC, they had this radical extremist on who the Democrats love. His name is Dean Obadiah. Dean Obadiah was on MS-13, and the Democrats and the government shut down.
The Democrats, I don't understand how a Democratic senator goes, wow, we won really big. Let me cave now. I don't understand. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, they won really big. They live in a mental state that is inexplicable to civilized people, to adults. We won really big, and now I'm going to cave because 8 Democrats voted to reopen the government. What did they win? And then he self-detonated his suicide vest after hosing down a school full of innocent children. Honestly, Dean Obadiah, they won really big, and then they caved. That was a really big win. And on MS-13 DNC, who was the idiot on with? Fanker? It doesn't matter. They're all the same. And there's no, they won really big. What's the really big win for the Democrats here? It was the off-year election last Tuesday. That was their big win. They won some blue state races, as they call them, Democrat jurisdictions, New Jersey, New York City. Yeah, wow, that was great. And then they point to some county commissioner in Mississippi or something. They've got a lot of mental issues. Then this is one of the shows I was talking about a couple of minutes ago. The show called The View, where they have Whoopi and Sunny and Cheerful. Whoopi and Happy. Joy. They have joy. And they're the most joyless people you're going to find until you turn to another Democrat channel. And then they're similarly joyless. Aren't they amazing? But on the TV show The View, which is, again, an ABC News product, and they're paid by ABC News. They're employees of ABC News, joyless and Sunny and these lunatics. And they're very, very angry. They're all very angry about everything all the time. That Schumer and the Democrats, and again, Dean Obadiah just said they caved. They won, and then they caved. They misunderstand everything they see. This is The View, Sonny Hostin.
Now they just caved and surrendered. I think Chuck Schumer, his days are over.
His days are over, and then they shot him with a rifle. The Democrats, they're very angry. His days are over, and it's true. There are these big negotiations going on in the Democrat Party about getting rid of Chuck Schumer as the leader of the Democrat Party in the United States Senate, and he did lead the shutdown, that he did. And then Democrats and illegal aliens showed up to vote last Tuesday on the off-year election, and they won some races. But that's that. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, then they, I got to tell you, they had John Fetterman, Democrat senator, decided to go on The View. Nobody knows why. He did, and he had a bit of back and forth with the nitwits there, the idiots there. And I've got updates for you on that. Hakeem Jeffries attacking world-renowned thoracic surgeon Dr. Mehmet Oz, an immigrant to this country. The racist anti-Semite Hakeem Jeffries also hates America and capitalism, too. Attacking Dr. Mehmet Oz. I want to do a little compare and contrast on Hakeem Jeffries versus Dr. Mehmet Oz. Now, I now have a collection of photographs of the Northern Lights being very visible in Washington, D.C., including with the Washington Monument in the foreground, the big toothpick, and the Northern Lights going on behind there. Also, I got a pro tip from a U.S. Navy admiral friend of mine who said, there are times when you can see the Northern Lights through your phone camera, even though the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, not visible to the naked eye. But your camera, because of the patriarchy, is sensitive, more sensitive than the naked eye. It doesn't have to be naked. You can just have your regular, fully clothed eye as well. But we've got that, so that's fun. And I'm going to be looking for it again tonight. I'll guarantee you. I'll guarantee you that much because I love stuff like that. I'm big on the sky. I like the sky, sun, the moon, the planets, all that stuff. I'm always on the lookout for things like that. You know, but I tell you, yesterday I don't have time to get to it right now. But the Fetterman appearance on The View, he's got a book that he's hawking, and it's apparently his own book, and he might have even written it. But we've got that going, and the Unaffordable Care Act is still very much in the news. The Democrats are trying to bury it like they do all of the people that they kill in shallow graves near Las Vegas, Nevada. You know how they do that. And Hakeem Jeffries attacking Dr. Mehmet Oz, who, I got to say, Mehmet Oz outperforms Hakeem Jeffries in every imaginable way. In fact, Dr. Oz should be a Republican senator from Pennsylvania, but the Democrats sabotaged him with lies, all lies, nothing but lies. And they got John Fetterman elected instead of Dr. Mehmet Oz. Like, oh, he's not qualified. He's just a world-renowned surgeon and professor emeritus of surgery from the Ivy League and in the Ivy League, and pay no attention to that. But I want to share that with you coming up because Mehmet Oz was then invited on television to respond to what Hakeem Jeffries had said about him smearing him, because that's what these people do. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. And also I want to get to Joe Rogan, who's talking about the fact that the Democrats are driving the country towards civil war, the United States of America. And Joe Rogan talking about that because he said, you got these Democrats out here celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We might be on the short path to civil war in the United States of America because the left, the real left, is here. And Jasmine Crockett update on kissing my feet, because Democrats. Crazy.